Almost every single house I've ever owned, when it came to outdoor living space, hanging out with the family, it always had this uneventful monstrosity. It looks like an incomplete space and it needs something to be more grand and its own little statement piece. In order to do that, we need a blank canvas. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you, it's wrecking day. To find out what the framers were anticipating for this, because it had to be cut out for something. I need a bigger ladder. So I've never actually removed stone. I've installed stone, exhibit A. I don't know how hard it is to pop it off. All you can do it is to do it, I guess. So what ends up coming off is not necessarily the mortar, but you're ripping out the whole chicken wire. So that wire is ripping so you can pull it off. Not terrible at all. Probably 2 hours worth of work. Let's talk about the mission. I know I want it to be all stone, top to bottom. I know I want the TV recessed inside and actually put an outlet and not use an extension cord. I know I want a big mantle here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this out to about 12 inches. I'm gonna create a fake fireplace and then put some kind of lighting mechanism to make it look like it's moving. It's an accent piece. And then on the bottom, there's gonna be what's called a hearth, I believe it's called. It's basically a bench for your fireplace. I'm curious to hear what you guys might think about it. I think it's a great idea to conceal this and make it look natural, but it's gonna be a little bit cheesy, but we're gonna make sure it looks awesome. First things first, let's start framing this thing out. My base plate's on. This is 12 inches coming out. This is gonna be for the bench there. Let's start slapping on another layer to stack this to be 3 inches on top, and then we'll start building our walls. Let me show you the lumber. We're looking at 14 16-foot long 2x4s, 280 bucks. And yeah, I need a bigger trailer to haul this stuff. I don't know if I mentioned the base plate on top, but we need a base plate on top. I can see the trusses sticking out, so I can just nail it right to them. That's a base plate. It's top plate. Guys, I have some crazy news that I need to share with you. I'm super excited to be working with Omaze to offer you the chance to win a $130,000 tiny home from Trueform Tiny. We all love tiny homes, right? The ability to disconnect from the hustle and bustle of everyday life and go to a secluded getaway and just finally recharge. Well, guess what? I'm excited to be working with Omaze to offer you a chance to win a $130,000 tiny home from Trueform Tiny and support a great cause, the National Park Foundation. The National Parks Foundation generates private support and builds strategic partnerships to protect and enhance America's national parks for present and future generations. So here's what you're gonna do. Head over to omaze.com/Mr. Build It to enter for your chance to win. Irene and I love any opportunity we get to stay at a tiny home over the weekend, get out of town, maybe in the woods, just keep it simple, decompress, and really focus on things that matter to us the most. And if we weren't staying in the place, we would definitely Airbnb it out and make a little bit extra cash flow. So for your chance to win a $130,000 tiny home from Trueform Tiny, head over to omaze.com/Mr. Build It and enter now. In 2021, Omaze raised over $27 million that was given to charity for an amazing cause of the National Parks Foundation. Now let's get back into this video. Let's go. I think it's probably the second time I've ever used a framing gun. Trying to get it at an angle and it's having trouble like getting it all the way in. Then I realized, well, you take this little safeguard off and now you have these claws that dig into the side of the wood and then you can jam it through. It's just to show, like, I don't know everything. I'm sure you guys didn't guess that. I'm kidding, I know everything. The rules, not rules, it's not a board game. The code, these vents, exhaust vents for these fireplaces have to be 12 inches below a certain structure, whether it's a soffit or anything else. So right now I have a 12-inch entire perimeter to make sure this, once it's housed in, it can still safely put out the exhaust. In case you're wondering what's the difference with the structure here, what happened? Well, your boy done messed up. I didn't consider the width of my TV. I had to take it down and consider the stonework, the OSB they'll go on to accommodate at least 3 inches completely around to be able to hang the TV comfortably. Get some supporting pieces and then we'll support it on top and then we'll start do even more supporting. That's like the name of today's day, support. We need emotional support. So this right here is called the neck clamp. Not taught by a lot of framing schools, but that's something you learn on the streets. In all reality, this blocking that I'm putting right here, you probably don't need to have it, but they're scrap pieces. It's such a small thing, you might as well overbuild than underbuild. These recessed cavities, there's 2 options. Option A is I can create a bunch of stretchers, put pocket holes, line them on the outside, and then just lay OSB on it. Option B is we nail a 2x4 across here, put 1 stretcher on each side, and then put OSB on top. So many options. Let's go with the second one. It's a lot easier. Okay, TV section is done, fireplace section is done. Now there's the bench. I don't need it to be super long because I'm also gonna have overhang of the top that I'm gonna put onto it. Maybe concrete. Yeah, maybe we'll do concrete. So let's start building the bench. Well, we got our bench. Let's try to figure out some electrical, huh? So now I'm really thankful that there is this hole here so I can actually see what's going on. And I see wire coming down below. So that's probably powering our fireplace. Let me look on the other side and see what it looks like. All right, perfect. So I have 14-2 cable sticking all the way through, and it's nice because this has pigtails already on them. So we'll create a hole on the back side and try to fish it through this hole and just tap into those lugs. Highly sophisticated tool. It's only done by special order. You don't find any hardware store. It's a broken ski pole. Gotta get creative. Come on. Oh, victory. Ski pole for the win. Now that we got our cable, I have to tack it on side of the stud so it's not going anywhere. It's roughly middle, right? Black cable is hot cable. We don't have power yet. Copper our ground, white is our common. I'm gonna be so excited to not have an extension cord run to this thing anymore. Hot wire here. It's upside down. It doesn't matter, but the OCD part of me thinks the world will end if you keep it upside down. Okay, let's connect power to it.
Okay.
With today's tools, almost all of my tools are cordless. I actually had to struggle finding something that I could plug in to see if we have power. Yes, we got power, baby. Nice work. All right, beautiful. Now that we got that figured out, ladies and gentlemen, we gotta start building our bench. What is it called today? Here, hearth, here. No, it's hearth. It's like earth, but with an extra H. So the mold for our concrete bench is gonna be made out of melamine. Why? Because it delaminates a lot easier than plywood or anything like that. I have 4 80-pound bags of the crack resistance, which means I think it's like fiber reinforced inside of it. The hardest part is gonna be making my mold because it's not a traditional rectangle. In fact, check this out. We're looking at a lot of different variables on this one. I'm gonna start cutting it, cut a bunch of little strips on the sides to make a little fence around it, and then I'll show you the prep process. A couple of things I learned over the years about prepping is that the bottom part is your top part. So once this is all molded up, you flip it over and that's the part that everybody sees, the pretty part. You want to use some car wax. This is turtle wax on the seams, the most importantly, but also use it on the mold so it could release the concrete a lot easier. When we do the next step, which is taking our brown caulk and going around the edges, using the caulking tool to press and round over all the edges so they're not sharp, once it dries, the wax is going to allow for it to release the caulking. That way we're only left with the middle part, the cleanest part. And it broke a glove. This is just like me. I never clean my tools when I'm done with them. I just wait till the next time I have to use them. We're gonna press this in, and then it'll create almost 3 lines, 2 outer and 1 inner. The inner part is our rounded over edge. The outer parts, when they dry, we'll peel them off. It's actually really satisfying to watch. We're just about ready to start doing the concrete. My mold is looking perfect. I got my little leveler out here, just a 2x6. My shovel, got all my stuff all set up in the back here. So I got the first 1.5 inches done. The reason why I'm pausing here is because I want to lay down steel reinforcement. That way when this stuff expands or contracts, this thing ain't gonna crack, and it's gonna be the strongest piece of concrete that I have probably ever made. No, that's false. I made something thicker than this, about 3.5 inches. Anywho, I'll cut it to size, lay it down, and then cover it with the rest of the concrete. Oh, and by the way, you like my shirt? Break something to learn something? Motto of my day. Go pick one up, link in the description below. I am sweating like a pig in a farmer's market. Now the biggest hurdle we need to overcome is getting the air bubbles out. So important, you can't overdo it because you're still gonna miss them and you have to patch them up with Portland cement or something like that. A few ways to do it. You can shake your table, but the most efficient way is using a reciprocating saw without a blade on. It will create a vibration towards the side, or a sander, but I find sanders, orbiting sanders, they don't make that many oscillations. So we'll start getting these air bubbles out and see how she looks. Listen, battery powered oscillating tools are really helpful and they work a lot of times getting these air bubbles out, but I'll tell you what, call me old fashioned, but sometimes manual stimulation works really, really well for getting air bubbles out of concrete. This puppy has been drying overnight. We're officially 1 day. It's looking beautiful. This might be the best slab I've ever done. It's nice and warm. It's crazy to think what on a molecular basis happening over there. Science rules.
Science rules.
I'm covering up with plastic because I don't want to get it too dehydrated. And in fact, I skipped a step from not doing the sheathing on the 2x4s because this is going to sit for 4 days. We might as well get ahead of the schedule here. So while this is curing, we're going to start sheeting today. We have 4 sheets of OSB, about 60 bucks. We're gonna start covering this sucker up and it's gonna start looking like something. I am extra excited about today because I get to wear pants finally in like 2 months. It's no longer 100 degrees. It's actually supposed to be 80 the entire week. I think fall's here. Man, it's nice to not be sweating my face off. And I get to wear my favorite pants in this M4 rebars from Ariat. They're fantastic. I got a discount code for you guys if you want a nice pair of work pants. They'll be in the description. Go check it out. Have I mentioned how much I love using the nail gun? I didn't anticipate the mantle. I need a mantle here, and I didn't create the space for the mantle. So the mantle that I'm gonna use is this old barnwood mantle. It's like 8 inches by 8 inches. It's square, it's large. I like it, it's got a lot of character. What I have to do is build this platform up by another 6 inches to make it a total of 9 here. And I gotta move that up about 6 inches to make sure it'll accommodate the TV. All right, so no matter how much I hate these kind of setbacks, we got it all done. I got a nice beefy 10-inch section for the mantle, which the mantle is only gonna be 8 by 8. And then just ended up moving everything about 7 inches higher, which is not bad. Now we got where we wanna go. Let's finish this thing off. So to hang this giant piece up here, I'm gonna use the same trick I use with drywall. Just set a nail that the sheet will rest on. Then all we have to do is put it on top of it and then secure it. I wonder if drywall guys learned this trick from roofers. I don't know which came first. All I know is I'm just glad this trick exists. This puppy is done. Let's go check on the concrete. It's been a couple of days and I'm pretty sure it's cured enough for us to start opening the molds. Look at her. Man, she looks good. Let's pop this thing open. Oh, that didn't even require much hitting. I think that's the benefits of using wax on this. I was nervous about those measurements too because the mold has to be made upside down. Oh man, this took a lot out of us. Mostly me and maybe, I don't know. The rest of the guys look like they're put together still. I'm still trying to catch my breath. This is 400 pounds. That's 4 80-pound concrete bags. Can't believe I was actually trying to flip it over myself. Woo, that came out so cool. It couldn't be perfect. The sizes and dimensions could not be perfect. I was sweating because I was like, I gotta make these molds, and the molds would be upside down. Obviously, we couldn't get all the bubbles out of here. You can take Portland cement, and it's just a very fine cement, mix it up, and then use a putty knife to fill in all these voids, and it essentially just creates a discoloration like that. Done it before many times, looks great, and it covers up all these pores. So I think that's exactly what we're gonna do. So carbon paper keeps all the moisture out. We have to make sure it's overlaid kind of like shingles. So we have to start at the bottom and then overlay it by a couple of inches as we keep going. You know what this feels like? Like I'm working at Macy's wrapping Christmas presents, and this is one of those obnoxious Christmas presents. All right, this old girl's home. Oh. Oh, hey, sorry I'm last. This stuff's called galvanized lath. Sorry, cheesy dad joke. We're gonna start installing the lath. If you've seen the grill video, this stuff is required to put stone on. These honeycombs point up. That's how they're supposed to be installed. We're gonna take our 1.25-inch nails, start smacking this thing on, overlapping it by 2 inches. Let's have fun. Psych, nobody's having fun with this. This stuff sucks. Gonna finish this up, keep tracking along. The hardest part with this is keeping it tight, but I think we're doing okay. 7 sheets of lath later, I think I'm done with lath for a while. We gotta get S-step mortar, mix it up, do 2 coats. Well, technically 1 coat. The score coat, which we basically just cover all of this with the flat side of the trowel. And then after that, we'll do the scratch coat. That's when we just flip the trowel over and we create these little grates that it could help the mortar, when we put the stone veneer on, stick better. Let's get the mortar. The consistency of these mortars, what the guys that do this professionally say, is you mix it to the point that you can put it on a trowel and put it at 45 degrees and it still stays on. Because we had these honeycombs facing up, the advantage behind that is by you pressing down, it feeds it a lot easier than any other way. I got a crap ton of this to do. Okay, it's D-Day. Everything we've been prepping for comes to this moment. I spent a lot of money on the stone, like a lot. I think it's like 1,500 bucks so far. Hopefully I don't have to use it all. Hopefully I can return some of it, but it is what it is, huh? Okay, this is being my 3rd stone project I've ever done. Here's what I've actually learned to help me improve. They do say do the corners first. The only problem is it's easy when you do the corners that are small like this. But once you get to the big corners like this, they end up sagging a little bit and it ends up screwing up your pattern. So what I'm gonna do differently this time is do the corners, but then do 1 row at a time so it has something to rest below it. When it comes to installation, this beautiful stone already has all my little score coats and scratch coats pre-built. Lay this on about 1 inch thick. Get it in here, push it in till the mud starts coming out. Scrape it off. Now, here's the magic behind it. There's a suction cup that happens. By pressing it on, it's squeezing out all the water and keeping like a suction cup on there. In fact, check this wild thing out. If you put it right here, that's not going anywhere until you take it off. But now it's super dry here. So don't move it once you put it on. I'm gonna be here a long time. Oh, one last thing, because I'm a W. Forgot to say, make sure you hydrate. Get a spray bottle, spray it down first, then put this on because you don't want the stone to suck out all the moisture before it has time to settle. No way. No way. I didn't even plan for that. We're living in a simulation, people. I'm telling you, stuff like this has just happened. Oh, that's perfect. Almost done with the part below the mantle. We're about, I would say, a solid third complete. Here's the little trick that I'm showing for over the mantle part so it doesn't slant. Not over the mantle, under the mantle part. Is I would just put a 2x4 underneath with screws, do the stone on, and then tomorrow when it dries, I can just pop it off and we'll have a clean straight line. Other than that, how nice does this beam look with this stone? It looks so cool. I can't wait for it to be done. Really can't wait for it to be done because I'm getting ready to be done. So this morning we're starting day 3 on this. I'm saying I'm doing all the work here. Let's be honest. It's day 3. I'm anticipating I got 2 more days to go. So a solid week if you're gonna do something this big. I did the same thing as I did down below to hold the center pieces up. I just put a trim board here. The reason why, I want them to stop evenly, so therefore I could put a piece of trim and boarding inside of here so it'll have to be like encapsulated and wrapped. But now we're almost done with this side. We're gonna jump on that side so that it evenly kind of carries up and I don't screw up any kind of patterns. Now, I'm not tired from doing stone for 3 days and now it rains. That's perfect. Come on! Great news, officially done with this stonework. 4 solid days. Today's just a touch-up day. Last piece of bricks in, and the great news on top of that is I was able to return about 300 bucks worth of stone back. So all this was about $1,100 just with stone plus like 10 bags of mortar. Now, what we're gonna do next is finish this section. I took the felt paper off because the way I'm gonna approach it, I don't really need the felt paper. Let me show you how I'm gonna handle that. There's a few options I was contemplating, either maybe cedar, maybe shiplap planks, but it's just gonna be a small section, so it's not really gonna be noticeable. So here's the best budget friendly and like a legitimate way to actually do it, that you would actually do it for the outside. So I bought 1/4 inch, this is siding. So I'll just put the siding on, both on the back side and the side sides, and then trim it off right here where the stone will be. It's basically edge profile. It's functional and relatively inexpensive. This was roughly about 150 bucks, which I was unaware how pricey siding can get. Anywho, let's start throwing it up. Got the first siding panel, cut the electrical box out, measure twice, cut once. Let's see if that theory works. Bulletproof theory. Well, I shouldn't say bulletproof. I've cut many times and measured many times. 60% of the time, it works every time.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Got everything trimmed out. It's looking so stinking good. Now we have to caulk out all the seams and then start painting it. And I'll paint it the exact same color as the trim on the house. That will it'll actually look like it's part of it. So before I start caulking painting, I actually just realized for the fireplace here, again, it's gonna be faux. So we need it to be dark. There's gonna be a cover in front of it. So here's the problem. As you can see, based off the stone that I used, well, you can't make a perfect cut. Well, you can. We're gonna have to sketch it out. I've never done this. I'm gonna give it a try and do my best to create a silhouette around this, use my jigsaw, cut it out, and then hopefully this will sit in place decently enough. Not perfect, but decently enough. In the words of John Malecki, let's get squirrely. Scribing something. That's how we're gonna get squirrely. So in hindsight, I wish I put on the siding then did the stonework. It would have just been far cleaner look. But we are where we are. We live and we learn. That's just what it is. If you're gonna do this project just like this, put some siding on first, then do your stonework. That way you don't have to scribe like this. Although I'm kind of happy how that came out, and I tried a new task or a new skill set. So let's do some caulking and some painting. It's time. HVLP sprayer, Tricon black color. Let's shoot this puppy. No puppies are getting shot. We're just putting paint over here. Relax. Ooh, how good does that look? Okay, so I got a couple more things to do. I have my steel plates here. I'm gonna get them mounted on top here. Reason why is when the heat does escape and it straps under here, I want to have a little added protection and have like a heat deflecting shield there. I'm gonna get that mounted, mount the TV, put the grate up here to make it look like a fireplace kind of in disguise. And I'll show you this big reveal, and most importantly, I will do the exact full budget breakdown so you'll know what this monstrosity cost us. I'll see you in a second.
All right, let's talk about the price breakdown for this project. For all the lumber was $365. The nails and screws that were used here was $61. The felt paper and the metal lath was $139. For all the bags of mortar was $100 total. The stone was $1,200. For all the electrical was only $50 in supplies. The concrete hearth bench was $130 in supplies. The metal heat shield was $40. The barnwood was free, but the finishing supplies on it was $50 total. For all the paint and the siding and the caulking was $178. And finally, the fireplace screen was $150, making this grand total $2,463.
Now, before starting this project, I decided to call around and get a few bids to see what this level of stonework would actually cost somebody, or maybe even myself. And I was not surprised. I expected this to be a pretty pricey ordeal. I was getting quotes between $12,000 and $15,000 for stonework alone, not even including all the framing stuff that I would have to hire out from somebody else. I'd love to hear your ideas of how you could decorate this side of that house. If rerouting through the roof was not an option, what would you do? Would you still do a fake fireplace like this, or you have a better idea? I'd love to hear them. Let me know in the comment section. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Here's a couple other videos for you to check out while you're here, and make sure you hit the subscribe button, tap the notification bell so you know when I put these videos out. Tune out this week. We'll see you guys on the next project. See ya. Bye.
What do you think?
Love it.
You love it? There's a lot of work, dude.
I still don't know. Like, you finished this in like 5 days.
No, I finished it in like 2 weeks.
But it felt like 5 days.
Felt like 5 days. Well, it felt like a year for me. Requires 5 30-second drill bit, not 3/16. This is roughly around 28 bucks. We're not gonna need a big roll like that.